who is, so for everybody who has just joined us, I just want to say thanks a million for coming. We're now recording. So if you're on your camera and you want to keep it off or keep muted, that's great. And you can ask questions in the chat as we go along, or you can ask questions at the end. So I'm going to pass you over now to Laura Kane. Laura is one of our leaders in learning, and she's also a PhD student in who's studying pancreatic cancer. That took me a really long time to say that. Sorry, so I'm going to pass over to yourself now, Laura. Okay. Listen, thanks again for coming, everybody. All right.
Thanks, Emil, Ciara. So, as Ciara said, my name is Laura Kane, and I'm a PhD student. I'm from Cherry Orchard, and I'm one of the leaders in learning. And I do a bit of work with the Ballyfermot Chapelizod partnership, which are the people who've asked me to speak today on reference managers. So I'm going to take you guys through what a reference manager is, how it can be useful to you for your academic journey, how to use it, the kind of ins and outs of it, how to get it organized for yourself on your computer, how to link it in with Word, and hopefully answer any questions you might have along the way. So first off, what is a reference manager? Well, there's a couple of different types. There's Mendeley and there's Endnote that I have the lovely symbols for here on the left. So a reference manager is a software that you can download onto your computer, or sometimes it's an online software that allows scientific authors to collect, organize, and use bibliographic references or citations. So it's really handy for people who need to cite when they're writing an academic essay or a thesis or dissertation, and you need to organize your references and your bibliography. This will do all of that for you. So Endnote is the software that I use, and it's a software that's readily available in Trinity. So there's a free version online, or you can download the paid version onto your desktop. Now it's roughly about 135 euros for students. So if you verify that you're a student with Endnote, you send them your student ID or something like that, you can get the student price. But a lot of colleges will provide a reference manager software as a service to their students. So it's definitely worth checking out with the library in your individual college. But what I'm going to show you today is the free online version, which I think is more common among kind of undergrads and master's students. I personally have the paid version because I use it quite a lot for my PhD, but the online version is just as good, and it will get you everything you need to get through your undergrad or your master's degree. So what I'm going to do is show you how to register for Endnote. And then when you register for Endnote, you need to actually download what's called an add-in. And that add-in is something that you're going to have to connect with Word. So first, I'm actually going to swap over to my Google Chrome to show you what Endnote looks like when you log in. So you're going to sign in. This is my own TCD sign in. And when you log into Endnote, and all my lovely references and stuff come up. So you have this My References tab, but what you want to do first when you log in is go over to Downloads, and you want to download the Cite While You Write add-in for Windows. So you've got the Windows or the Mac version, whatever it is that you need for yourself. So you download that, it'll pop up in your little downloads, you click on it, you go yes, 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 next, whatever it wants, and let it kind of install on your computer. And then when you swap over into Word like this, when you pop into Word, what you want to do is go over here to the left where it says File, go all the way down into Options, and you get this lovely little pop-up. If you go into Add-ins, takes a little bit of a second. When you go into Add-ins, perfect. When you go into Add-ins, you'll see all these different bits and pieces in here. What you want to do is go into you should only have one of these. I've loads of them because I've downloaded a few times as a practice. What you want to do is go into your Endnote Cite While You Write, this CWYW little guy here. You want to manage your COM add-ins and hit go. and you want to tick EndNote cite while you write and hit OK. And then you get this lovely little EndNote tab pop up in Word for you. And this is how you're going to add in all of your citations into your Word document. But I'll get into that a bit later. So first, I want to show you how to use EndNote online and how to actually get the references into your EndNote. So if you go into your Google Chrome and you're in your EndNote and you have this sort of home screen here, there's a couple of different ways you can add references. So if you go over to collect, you can search online. So for me, I can search the Trinity database. You might have UCD, Ballyfermot College, anything like that in here if your college allows you to have EndNote. Another way you can do it is you can add in the reference yourself. So if you're working from a specific physical piece of literature, if it's a textbook or something like that, you can put in the details for that reference yourself. So you can type in the author, the title, the year, everything like that, all the details. You don't have to fill everything in, anything that you have or that is necessary to you, and then you're going to save it. So you can add in a reference like this, but the most common way to do it is to import a reference. So to import a reference, the best way, in my opinion, is to use Google Scholar. Some of you guys might not be familiar with Google Scholar. You might use PubMed. So I'll show you how to use PubMed as well. Google Scholar is my absolute golden sort of place to find references. So if I go into Google Scholar and I say, click on these recommended articles or something like that, or if I search for, say, pancreatic cancer, which is my own sort of research area, you get these papers that come up. So the easiest way to download a citation in Word is to click these kind of little apostrophes. And you can see when I hover over it, it says the word cite. So if you click on that, the first thing it'll do is show you how that citation looks in the different referencing styles. Harvard is probably the style that people are most familiar with. So what you can do is copy and paste the actual citation, makes life a lot easier for you. Or what you can do is hit this lovely little EndNote here, and it'll download a tiny little file. And what you can do then is go back into your EndNote, you go choose file under your imports, you click on that little guy, click open, and then you can tell it what it is. So I've taken this from Google Scholar, so it knows the type of file that it is. Where do I want to put it? So I've made a very special little group in my EndNote for this webinar, this BCP webinar, and then import. So it says, perfect, you've imported it. So when I go over to my references now, if I go into my BCP group, there's the reference I've just imported. So what you can also do here as well, if you're using EndNote to kind of keep track of the different papers you've read, so you can go back and look at them again. What it also allows you to do is attach a file. So if you have a PDF file for that paper, say, so if we go back, let's have a quick look. If we look at all of the versions of this paper, you can see there's PDFs here. If I click on one of these, it should open up the PDF for me, and I can download it on here, over here on the right, into my downloads, save it, go back over into EndNote. I can add this file in to EndNote. You can have multiple of them if you have different versions, or if you have a couple of different things you want to have. Click on it, click open. I've clicked on it twice there, and upload. And then it'll upload into your EndNote. So then when you go back, you can easily just click on it and look at the PDF. So you don't need to save them all to your laptop. You can delete them out of your downloads if you don't have space, if you've got a limited memory on your computer. So that's how you can kind of keep track of the things that you've read if you're doing a lot of reading and stuff, if you're building up a library of stuff before you start to write or something like that. So you have your little groups where you can download your different references. As I say, the easiest way, in my opinion, is to use this import. So then another way that you can import your references is PubMed, which again, as I say, is probably one of the biggest places. So I'll show you how to do it in PubMed. So again, if I go with this generic pancreatic cancer search, and I just click on the first article that comes up, you can see this big button over here that says cite. If I click cite, I can download the citation. Again, I can copy and paste this, whatever is easier. And you can see the different file formats here. So I can download this, go back over into Endnote and do the exact same thing, pick the file type or pick the file out, tell it what file type it is, all of that kind of stuff, import it, and you can collect your references that way. So now you've got this lovely list of references. You can see I have a million of them here. Now I've got all these references and I want to start writing. So if we move over into Word, and I'm going to show you an example of a thesis that I've done as part of my research. So it's this lovely, big, huge Word document, as you can see, with about 50 pages. But if I scroll down, you can see that I have references in here. And the really handy thing about Endnote is if you actually highlight the text, you can see where all the different references are. Now, as part of the dissertation that I've done, I've had to use numbered referencing. So you can see here up under my Endnote tab, you can see the style is down as numbered, but I can really easily change that. So if I pick Harvard, give it a little second just to format because it's a big document. And it'll update all of my references into Harvard referencing, just as easy. And there it is. So a really, really quick way of doing it, if you find out really last minute that the referencing style has changed, really important as well, you can select another reference style and it'll give you a big long list and you can search for your reference style in here. There's loads of different reference styles. Some colleges are really particular about the reference style that they use. Some aren't. Most people are going to use Harvard. There's a couple of different Harvard styles. There's Bradford, Harvard, and there's this author year that's from Hull. These are really the most common ones. Or as I say, if you hit N for numbered, and U for numbered, you can come down and find numbered reference in there and just hit OK. And it'll update your whole document for you. Just as easy as that. But probably what's more important is how do you actually put the reference in the first place. So I have this nice sentence here that says pancreatic cancer is the 7th leading cause of cancer-related death globally. So I actually want to remove that. So if I hit edit citation, you can see my citations have come up here in the order that they appear in the text. So I can click this lovely little arrow here and I can remove it. I can insert a new citation. So if I have multiple papers that have that same piece of information and I want to cite multiple papers, I can insert. So for now, I'm going to remove that citation and I'm going to hit OK. And it'll remove it from the text, but also from your bibliography. If it appears somewhere else in your text, that's absolutely fine. It'll just become a later number. For me, it's now deleted. So you can see I've got this empty space here where that reference used to be. So I'm going to hit insert citation. Now I'm going to look for a paper on pancreatic cancer. You can also search for the author. You can search for the year. You can search for keywords in the title. As I said, my research is pancreatic cancer, so I have loads of papers here. So if I pick this top paper, say that's the one I want to reference, and you just hit insert, and it'll pop it in for you. Takes a little bit of time, as I said, because it's such a long document. But yeah, that's easy as. And as I said, you can insert more than one. So if I click on that reference and hit insert, I can put in multiple. If I go to edit, I can remove the citation, or I can move it up and down. If I want this citation to move, you can click the arrows when you've got a list here. So you can see they've numbered them 3 to 5. So if you want to change these so that they come, say for instance, you need them to be alphabetical. If A was down here, you could move it up. If you wanted them to be in different years, so if you wanted them to be earliest to latest or the newest one to the oldest one, you just move them around using these little arrows. You can edit the reference. So say for instance, if there's an issue with your reference, like the year isn't correct, you can go in and edit it and then save it, and it'll update in your Word document as well. Hold on, you probably can't see that. So it'll bring you over into Google Chrome. It'll show you the actual reference in your EndNote online, so you can edit the year if it's coming up wrong, if the journal title is coming up wrong, the page numbers, anything, you can edit it, hit that save button, and then you can go back into your Word document. And what's really key then is you want to update your citations and bibliography just to make sure that it has updated and use that new year or page number that you've edited. The other thing you can see is if I scroll all the way down to my bibliography, it formats all of that for me. So the type of referencing that I'm doing here is a specific type of referencing that's numbered. If I change it to the Harvard referencing, it'll then turn into alphabetical. And it'll have everything from A down to Z, all alphabetical. So rather than having the references as they appear in your text, they'll all go into alphabetical like this. What you can also do as well is in your styles, you can kind of go in and tweak it a little bit sometimes if you want to kind of make it look a bit nicer. Some people, maybe they want to have it kind of indented so that it's not all one big paragraph or something like that. Usually, or there you go, there's another style that underlines your journal. As I say, most universities will tell you a very specific type of referencing that they want, and you just pick it from the list and work away. And it's usually dead on. The other thing, hold on. It's not happy with me changing all my references so often. There you go. So as I say, with the little indentations and stuff so that it's nice and neat. But yeah, you can usually find it from your list of references like that. And it's very important, as I say, to remember to update your citations if you do go in and edit any of them in terms of if the journal name's not coming up right for you, the page numbers, just make sure you update your citations and your bibliography before you submit anything. The other thing you can do is you can download your bibliography as plain text. If you just want a list of your papers that you've cited in the text, that's also something you can do. I've never had a need for it, but yeah, you can do it. If you have the software, what you can do is pop into your preferences here. And if you go over to application, you can swap your application here from the online version to the software. I've actually uninstalled it just so that the online version works okay for me for today. But it usually has this drop down and it either says EndNote Online or normal sort of EndNote that you might have downloaded on your laptop. And then you just hit OK. So I think that might be everything. Let me just see if there's any questions in the chat.
Actually, that's brilliant, Laura. I noticed one question in the chat, but I was just going to ask the person who put that question in earlier if that question is actually to do with referencing or another question they have about academic writing, because this is just a webinar on referencing. So if that person wants to type the question in, and let us know, is this to do with referencing or something else?
Absolutely,
and we can, and then we'll just wait now and see if they come back. If not, what we could do maybe is we could answer that person's questions after we do okay, so it's a question about referencing.
Absolutely, yeah, work away.
Right, so if we go to the top, it's just, there's a link to something there in the chat. Can you see it?
Yeah. So let's have a quick gander. Let me just share that now that I've opened it.
Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, you can see it. Perfect. So it's popped me into a specific paper.
Okay. So I'm assuming that the person who wants to reference this paper. Is that right, Anne? I hope it's okay that I said your name. I'm assuming that's the case, but if I...
Perfect. So you want to reference this. Is it in relation to popping it into EndNote or... So basically what I would do if I wanted to reference this is I would copy the title. So I've highlighted it there, Control-C, or you can right click and hit copy. I would then pop over into Google Scholar, which as you can see, I use it quite a lot. So I have a little bookmark there. I would paste it in here and search for it. So if I click these two little, the kind of apostrophe sign here, which is for cite, it'll give me the citations for kind of the most used referencing styles. So you can highlight and copy this and paste it into your bibliography if that's the way you want to work. Or as I said, you can hit this little Endnote button. It'll download into your downloads for you as this kind of Google, as the little Endnote file for Google Scholar. And then you can pop into your Endnote and you can import your reference. Oopsie daisies. Import your reference in here. Choose the file from your downloads. Choose the type of import that it is, so Google Scholar, and where you want it to go. So if you have different groups, or if it doesn't even matter where it goes, if you wanted to set up a new group, you can import it and give it a name there if you wanted. You just have Word. That's absolutely fine. Yeah. So as I say, you can take the reference directly from Google Scholar if it's one of these kind of referencing styles, or if you want to download Endnote or register for the online version, which if you're writing like a thesis or any sort of large academic pieces that you have to submit as like an assignment, I'd highly recommend Endnote, because as you can see, I have quite a lot of references there, and it would get a bit much to kind of try and manage them myself and make sure that it's all alphabetical or that they're all in the right number order. So it's just, it really kind of streamlines that for you. But as I say, yeah, if you don't have Endnote and you don't want to use a manager, yep, that's probably the easiest way to cite it, is to click that little cite button on Google Scholar and just copy and paste the citation.
That's great. Listen, thanks, Laura. That seemed to have helped with Anne's question. Does anyone else have any questions? I'm just waiting to see if anyone's typing here. Now, it doesn't look like there's any other questions, which I think is a sign of how well you presented.
No problem. As I say, my email address is there at the start of the slide. So if anybody wants to kind of shoot me a more specific email or anything like that, that's absolutely fine as well. If you've got like a specific question about any of it, down here, this kainla@tcd.ie, that's my TCD email. You can shoot me an email and I'll get back to you.
Oh, that's really good of you, Laura. Yeah, really, really good. And look, I just wanted to just say this was Laura's idea to do this. So I'm really, really grateful that she did. We're going to be sending the recording to everyone who's a leader in learning in Cherry Orchard, and also other students as well in Ballyfermot. So Laura, you're happy if people share this with whoever they want, are you?
Absolutely, yeah, far and wide.
Brilliant, brilliant. That's great. Well, listen, we're going to sign off now. Thank you very much to everybody who made an effort to come, and we know a lot of people will really appreciate it when they see the recording as well. So thank you so much, everybody, and thanks a million for making the time to come, and a big thank you to Laura for doing this too. All right,
thanks for coming, guys.
Great. See you soon. Bye bye.